Now, a lot has been made of this halftime commercial with Clint Eastwood. I have to be honest with you. I was trying to figure out what the hell it was about to the last line or two, then I got it. But people are jumping all over Clint Eastwood, and Eastwood's coming out today and he's saying, I'm not in the Obama camp and so forth. Let's listen to it just so you can remember what was said, and then I'm curious about your input. I'll give you mine too. Cut 10, go.
It's halftime. Both teams are in their locker room discussing what they can do to win this game in the second half. It's halftime in America, too. People are out of work and they're hurting, and they're all wondering what they're going to do to make a comeback. And we're all scared because this isn't a game. The people of Detroit know a little something about this. They almost lost everything. But we all pulled together. Now Motor City is fighting again.
Stop. See, that's where the offensive stuff comes in, because they almost lost everything, but we all pulled together again. So in other words, the taxpayer bailout of GM and Chrysler is, I guess, what's being touted there. And by the way, we now know that most of this commercial was shot in New Orleans and Los Angeles. Just thought you'd want to know, not Detroit. And I would certainly argue that spending dollars, GM, Chrysler, among others, our tax dollars for this, is propaganda. They still owe us. GM still owes us $25 billion, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know what the hell Chrysler owes us. They still owe us a lot of money. Continue, Mr. Producer.
I've seen a lot of tough eras, a lot of downturns in my life, times when we didn't understand each other. It seems that we've lost our heart at times. The fog of division, discord, and blame made it hard to see what lies ahead. But after those trials, we all rallied around what was right and acted as one. Because that's what we do. We find a way through tough times, and if we can't find a way, then we'll make one. All that matters now is what's ahead. How do we come from behind? How do we come together? And how do we win? Detroit's showing us it can be done. And what's true about them is true about all of us. This country can't be knocked out with one punch. We get right back up again, and when we do, the world's going to hear the roar of our engines. Yeah, it's halftime, America. And our second half's about to begin.
Yeah, this is definitely a propaganda piece. A propaganda piece. Now, let me tell you why beyond what I think is apparent. What's wrapped in patriotism here is something that is not patriotic. Taking money from the taxpayers to subsidize favorite entities. Businesses are going out of business every day in this country. Small businesses, medium businesses, large businesses are moving overseas because they can't take the taxes and regulations anymore, and they feel threatened by this president. And why wouldn't they? He's been attacking industries by name. He's been attacking citizens by name. Your president attacks you, or attacks what you're doing, and you're following the law, and you're trying to make a profit, and you're trying to expand and be successful and hire people, while he's sending a message much different than this commercial is. If Detroit comes back, it's not going to be because of us subsidizing GM and Chrysler. What Detroit needs, what every city needs, what every town and county and state in this country needs is an injection of liberty. An injection of free market capitalism. We can't subsidize businesses and industries forever, because then they can't stand on their own 2 feet ever. I heard Karl Rove going on and on about this, and he had some very intelligent comments to make. But what Karl Rove does not say is that his boss, George W. Bush, was the first to subsidize GM and Chrysler using TARP monies, in my view, in an unconstitutional way, in violation of the separation of powers doctrine, because Congress refused to subsidize either of those businesses. But they, again, were too big to fail. So rather than go through a normal bankruptcy, which would have left tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people employed, including all those who supply the automakers, Obama decided to do something different. And just for these two companies. Not for the thousands of other companies in this country that go under and have to go through this process. Should we be subsidizing all the airlines now? All the airlines that went bankrupt. Should we have taken those over too? Should we have thrown out all the investors, all the creditors? Well, we didn't. And yet there they are. They're still flying, for the most part, if they haven't been combined with other airlines. These bankruptcy rules are written to make it possible for these businesses to survive after going through tough times. That's why we have bankruptcy laws. Otherwise, these companies would collapse altogether. They are a legally organized way to reconstitute yourself, should you choose to. But Obama didn't want to do that. He didn't want to do it because the guys that run the UAW didn't want to do it. And that's why this commercial is offensive. There's nothing American about this. It's all socialism. That's what it is. And it is a model that, if it's tried over and over again, will destroy this country, as so much else that this president does will destroy this country. That's why people are offended. I seriously doubt Clint Eastwood, who's a patriot, drew all the conclusions that I just drew and others are drawing from this commercial. I give him the benefit of the doubt, because nothing in his history points to supporting this model, this kind of activity, or a president like this. So I suspect he thought this was just a patriotic calling. But I don't know. But what offends me, frankly, isn't so much the commercial as what's been done to our country and what was done in these two cases, which is now being celebrated as some grand achievement. It's no grand achievement. They took our money. They gave it to somebody else. We're subsidizing contracts, not just with employees, but with other companies between companies. You and I are paying for all this. We're owed $25 billion from General Motors. They put together this preposterous electric car. Nobody buys it. Nobody wants it because it's not useful. You know, they don't build things. When you build something like that, a government-designed automobile in essence, because it imposes all these requirements, you're not building something for the consumer. You're building something because the government says so. That's the Stasis in East Germany, the communist regime there, where they all had the same car, all black, all old, everybody driving around the same thing, if they could drive at all. It's not our system. It's not to be celebrated. It's to be denounced. Obama creates straw men. So his claim is if he hadn't done these things, millions of people would have been out of work. He's full of crap, as usual. If he hadn't done this, these companies would be standing on their own 2 feet. They'd be producing cars that the customers want. And you and I wouldn't be owed $25 billion from GM and God knows what from Chrysler. This is not a success story. It's a failure. Because the government stepped in. It defied existing bankruptcy laws, and it undermined the capitalist system that makes things better, changes things, and gives us the quality of life that we have today.